Welcome to another episode of the Tech Hour with Kevin and Pat. I'm your fintech entrepreneur, Pat Houston, and on this show, we like to talk about finance, business, technology, and problem solving, because what makes a better problem solver and business owner than a technician? So today I wanted to talk about the differences between being a regular W-2 employee versus being a sole proprietor versus being a full-fledged company, an LLC, an S Corp, and so on. You are a wage employee. Let's say you work at a job like Walmart and you get a check every 2 weeks and you get a tax refund at the end of the year because the government's taking too much out of your money. That's a W-2 employee. So the pros of that is you typically don't have to worry about paying taxes. You get a refund at the end of the year. And you have the advantages of IRAs and different things like that. But when it comes to deductions, there's nothing there on the W-2 side. Now, for the self-employed side is any job that you have, like a Uber or a Lyft. If you sell lemonade on the side, if you represent yourself, your own brand, you're self-employed. And this one, you just make money kind of willy-nilly. And because of that, you're not taxed on that money. So that's when Uncle Sam takes tax. For instance, if you made $100,000, you would have to pay roughly 20 to 30% in taxes, and that's basically broken down by 15% in Social Security and Medicare taxes and things like that, and your federal taxes on top of that. So 27% of $100,000 is $27,000. You would owe the government $27,000 if you made $100,000 in that year. But what makes the self-employed so great is that you get to break down the cost or take away some of the costs. So for instance, let's say if you made $100,000 a year, but you spent $50,000 to make that $100,000 per year. So if you made $50,000 a year and you got taxed at like that 27%, you would make, roughly, you will only be charged like $10,000 versus that $27,000. Much cheaper. And inside the self-employed game, you can continue to deduct a lot of other different things. Many things if you get into it. But when you want to go to the next level, and that's like your LLCs and your self-employed, there's a couple of caveats. First of all, you need to be making enough money. I would suggest that you make between $40,000 and $50,000 before you even think about going LLC, because that's when the real tax deductions come up. And before I start getting into too much tax deductions, let me say this. I am not a tax professional. I don't know anything about I don't want to get anybody in trouble. Do your own due diligence, do your own research. I'm on YouTube, get on YouTube, figure it out. But as an LLC, you get even further tax benefits. Like let's just say if you make $100,000 a year and you're an LLC. First of all, the legal benefits are you're separated from your company is something different than you. See, for me, I'm Patrick Houston. If I was a sole proprietor, I'll be doing work as simply Patrick Houston. But if I was an LLC, I use my brand name, Houston's Home Automation, to do my business and make my purchases. So, and then it also separates me from my business for legal reasons. Let's say I do some light electrical work, and let's say I, short out somebody's doorbell. They would be suing Houston's Home Automation. That would be backed up by Houston's Home Automation's insurance instead of them suing me directly or, something like that. So it basically sort of protects you from anything crazy that can happen for you. But anyway, that's the boring legal stuff. You want to know about the tax deductions. First of all, listen, if you get a vehicle over 6,000 pounds and you're an LLC, and of course you can prove your income and you have good LLC credit, you can pretty much write that car off. So just imagine if you get yourself a work van, for instance, and you spend $20,000 on that work van. And because you're an LLC, you made $100,000 in profit, and let's just say it cost you $50,000 to make that $100,000. So you'll be taxed on that. But yes, you bought yourself a car. So let's just say the car or that van over 6,000 pounds was $30,000. Now you're able to take that full deduction off on that van in the first year. So what that basically means is now 100,000 you make 50,000, you could take another 30,000 off that 50,000. So on paper, it looks like you only made $20,000, and 27% of $20,000 is very low. Like the money that they take out is very low. You're gonna be looking at something like, closer to, 5 or 6 grand, and that's a lot easier to pay than that initial $20,000 that we were talking about paying if you were a sole proprietor and you didn't take any of those deductions. So that's why it's very important to, whatever you do, whatever you start to do, if you start to get in business, whether you're selling lemonade or bracelets or whatever, depending on the level of risk and how many deductions you can take, that's why it's great to incorporate. Now, S corps and stuff, I'm not there yet. There's far more different things on that, but we'll talk about it in a different video. Speaking of different videos, my buddy Kevin on the YouTube side did a decent breakdown of exactly when and why to do this as well. So check that out on YouTube if you get a chance. Thanks for listening to us. I'm Patrick Houston of the Tech Hour, Kevin Pat. Take it easy.